Welcome to Waz and Wire. Today we're talking about Wong Siew Ki's powerful statements regarding political sympathy and judicial integrity.
And this has really blown up, hasn't it? We're looking at a major political firestorm, and it was all kicked off by the denial of the house arrest application for former Prime Minister Najib Razak.
Exactly. That decision wasn't just a legal note in a file. It ripped open this huge clash in our political landscape.
A clash between what?
Well, on one side you have this sentiment, this loyalty to a former leader, and on the other you have the cold, hard demands of the justice system.
And that's precisely the tension that Wong Siew Ki, the Selangor Democratic Action Party Information Secretary, has zeroed in on. She's framed the whole debate with, I would say, brutal clarity.
She really has. She posed a question that's just impossible to ignore. If we spend all our political energy feeling empathy for the person who was convicted, who is left to feel empathy for the actual victims, the citizens.
Right. It completely reframes the conversation. So we're going to be analyzing the political shockwaves from her statements. We'll focus on the key points she's hitting on, the rule of law, what remorse actually means, and the role of political allies in a coalition.
Okay, let's start with her main point because it's a necessary reality check. Wong Siew Ki issued this very firm reminder to leaders and specifically to the United Malays National Organization youth members. Najib Razak isn't just a former prime minister or a former party leader. That's history.
Right. Her point is you have to look at the present legal reality. And that reality is he is a criminal convicted in a massive corruption case, and he is serving his sentence. That status convicted felon is the starting point for any discussion.
But his allies keep bringing up his past titles, his old authority, to try and build sympathy.
Of course, that's the political play. But Wong Siew Ki counters that by reminding everyone of the sheer effort it took to get that conviction in the first place.
Yeah, she emphasized that taking down such a powerful central figure was a huge historic achievement.
It wasn't just some accident. She pointed out that it was the result of, joint efforts from multiple Democratic Action Party leaders, citizens, and years of work from enforcement agencies. Painstaking investigation.
And that long, difficult process is what makes this push for house arrest so disrespectful in her view.
Especially because, as she notes, it seems to lack any real legal justification. It's not just a procedural request.
So what does it signify then? To her, what does that move actually say?
It suggests a profound lack of basic remorse. I mean, if you truly accept responsibility, you accept the consequences that the law lays down.
Seeking special treatment, then, is the opposite of that.
Exactly. It suggests you still believe political privilege should somehow outweigh a final judicial ruling. It's a fundamental disrespect for the whole system.
And this is where the conversation has to shift from the legal side of things to the human cost, the impact on citizens. Wong Siew Ki was very clear about not letting people forget the scale of this crime.
She was. She brought the focus right back to the financial details, the things that people remember seeing in the news, the vast sums of cash, the mountains of luxury goods.
The designer bags, the jewelry, all of it.
And she used this incredibly powerful phrase, saying it all came from the people's blood, sweat, and tears.
That phrase really hits home because it makes it personal. This wasn't abstract government money. It was the nation's hard-earned wealth. We're talking about gigantic sums in ringgit that could have been used for so much else.
Think about it in real terms. That's money that could have gone into our schools, into hospitals that need upgrading, into public transport. It's a direct loss that you can feel, and it creates this long-term distrust in the system.
It connects the crime to your everyday life. And Wong Siew Ki's bottom line is simple. The evidence was clear, the conviction was legal, and he has to bear that responsibility. No renegotiations.
Which, of course, led to the immediate political countermove. The moment the house arrest application was denied, the United Malays National Organization Youth mobilized.
And they didn't just write a letter. They organized, they showed up, and they submitted a memorandum.
And all of this, over what? Not a formal policy statement. It was sparked by a short social media post.
Which tells you a lot, doesn't it? It suggests the whole thing was less about the actual content and more about a show of force.
Wong Siew Ki dismissed it immediately. She called it an unconstructive political performance.
A performance designed just to stir up emotion and create noise.
And you can see that in the details. She pointed to the absurd 24-hour deadline they demanded for a retraction.
That's not a serious request. A 24-hour ultimatum is designed for conflict, for media soundbites. It's a cheap political stunt.
She didn't mince her words. She flat out called it cheap and low-level political manipulation. Her critique is that they're falling back on these outdated, unproductive intimidation tactics instead of engaging in real debate.
So what does that say about the bigger picture, about the unity government itself?
Well, that's where her challenge becomes very direct. She turns to the United Malays National Organization and essentially asks them to choose their role. Are you a partner in governing the country, or are you a partner in defending one man's history?
She's telling them to step up, to focus their energy on what a ruling partner should be doing.
Right. Things like, working together on good governance, actually improving the lives of citizens, contributing to the country's development. That's the mandate they were given.
And she drew a very, very clear ethical line in the sand. She said their efforts must stop tripping to whitewash a convicted criminal.
And then came that analogy, the one that really bites. She said they should stop being an accomplice to the tiger.
That's a devastating thing to say about a coalition partner. An accomplice is someone who helps a criminal.
Exactly. She's implying that by defending him so aggressively, they are essentially enabling the very culture of corruption the unity government is supposed to be fighting. It undermines the entire project.
That accomplice to the tiger line. It really questions the entire ethical foundation of the coalition, doesn't it? It makes the government look hypocritical.
It creates this massive internal tension. How can the government move forward on reforms if one of its major partners is constantly using its political capital to defend someone condemned by the courts? It just grinds everything to a halt.
Which really brings the question to you, the listener. Given this conflict, what is the right role for a major partner in the unity government? Does loyalty to a party figure come before the judicial system and the national mandate or change? The stability of the whole government kind of hinges on that question.
And Wong Siew Ki's answer is crystal clear. It all builds up to her final point, which is really a warning shot to the old political establishment.
Okay, let's break down that warning. What's the core message?
The message is that the game has changed. Malaysian politics is different now. The public is watching. They're more observant than ever before. She says their eyes are bright.
So all the old moves, the old plays, they don't work anymore.
That's her argument. This old-style emotional politics and intimidation politics is becoming obsolete. It relied on an audience that could be easily swayed, and that audience is shrinking.
Especially with social media.
Yeah.
Everyone's a critic now. People demand accountability. They demand transparency.
They do. And so these tactics, which are designed to just stir up emotion, they increasingly look desperate, out of touch.
And what's the consequence if they don't adapt?
The consequence, as Wong Siew Ki lays it out, is that they will become a stumbling block, not just for their own party, but for the progress of the entire unity government. They will actively hold the country back.
Wow. So it comes right back to where we started, this clash between misplaced sympathy for one person and the public's demand for accountability from everyone.
She really managed to shift the entire debate. It's not about legal technicalities anymore. It's about the moral and political future of the government.
And it leaves the unity government with a pretty stark choice. Focus on governing and reform, or keep spending political capital defending the past.
I think you're right. And it leads to a final thought, doesn't it? The immediate stability of the country might depend less on new policies and more on whether these major political players can finally align their words with the undeniable verdicts of our courts.
If they can't show respect for the finality of the justice system, then this political turmoil is just going to keep going.
A crucial point to consider.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.